Finding Home by Fire. Chapter 9. To Come Apart. Harry stared. What? Tony glared. What? Fury gave Tony a dismissive glance when the billionaire leapt to his feet.
Stark, stay out of this. This is none of your business.
None of my... Tony spluttered. Excuse me, but last time I checked, Harry's here for me, and he's my friend, not to mention I'm part of this jug of a team you're trying to put together. If you're going to try to drag Harry into this monkey act, you've got another thing coming. Tony, Harry spoke up before Fury could say anything else. It's all right. Tony's head snapped around to look at Harry with wide-eyed disbelief. What? You're really going to... I'm not going to join. Harry interrupted, voice clear as he looked back at Fury. Like I said, I'm only here to make sure Tony gets back home alive and in one piece. Nothing more. Besides, I'm no superhero. Just because I could do magic doesn't mean I'm going to charge out there fighting for the good of all. Besides, how hidden do you think the magical community will be if I start crusading as an Avenger? Tony sat down, apparently satisfied that Harry wasn't about to pick up arms and join S.H.I.E.L.D. On the other hand, Fury didn't look all that pleased.
Potter, do you know how much good you could do for the world? He demanded. That's what the Avengers do.
No. Harry shook his head, glancing around the room. That's what you want the Avengers to do. I've been on this base for days now, and all I've seen are a bunch of separate individuals all trying to do things their way. One of you hasn't even been here the entire time. That's not his fault, Natasha gutted tersely. And he's back now. He's in sickbay. Understandable, and I'm not even saying it's his fault, but can anyone here tell me, in all honesty, that the Avengers is anything more than a name right now? His gaze took in all of them, even Tony, and not one of them managed to meet his eyes. Anyway, Harry continued, unrelenting as his gaze settled on Fury again. How can any of them begin to trust each other if you're keeping secrets from them? You brought them together. You have the responsibility of giving them a reason to stay. He half turned to take in the rest of the Avengers in the room. And just by agreeing to come here, each of you have the responsibility of coming up with a reason to fight. I don't think I have to tell you that going into a battle without a reason usually ends with body bags. And it won't be the enemies inside them. Make up your mind. Either you're in or you're not. Halfway isn't going to be enough anymore. And without another word, Harry turned on his heel and headed for the door. He had said his piece, voiced his opinion. Whether they took it into consideration or not would be up to them. By the way, I still think you're a first-grade asshole, Tony piped up after a full minute of silence, looking evenly at the director. Fury sighed wearily.
You can think anything you want, Mr. Stark. Just stay quiet long enough to hear me out.
He paused
and then snorted. Never thought I'd see the day I'd get chewed out about the way I command on my own ship.
He's got a point. Bruce eyed the rest of the room. Nobody here trusts anyone. I trust you, big guy. Tony reached over to pat him on the shoulder. Bruce quirked a slight smile in the billionaire's direction, but it was half-hearted at best. Being chastised by someone like Harry wasn't the best of experiences, and a certain tension remained in the air even after Harry had left.
Look.
Fury got their attention again as he rose to his feet and moved to the front of the room.
We're dead in the air up here. Our communications and location of the cube are lost and Barton's still down. We have no idea where Loki went, and we've got a powerful wizard on board whose only connection is Stark. Not to mention, he's not all that impressed with us right now. I got nothing for you.
He paused and looked at each of them before continuing in a grave tone.
Yes, we were going to build an arsenal with the Tesseract. I never put all my chips on that number, though, because I was playing something even riskier. There was an idea. Stark knows this.
All eyes turned briefly to Tony.
Called the Avengers Initiative. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more. See if they could work together when we needed them to fight the battles that we never could.
Fury's eyes sharpened as he looked at Tony.
It seems your friend already knows this.
Tony shrugged unapologetically. I tell Harry everything. It was supposed to be top secret. Natasha frowned. And who's Harry gonna tell? Tony challenged. His cars? He's a mechanic. The only reason he's here is because of me. How did you even become friends? Steve suddenly asked, honestly curious. You two are nothing alike. Why would he come all this way risking getting caught and revealed just to protect you? Tony frowned, expression pinching with annoyance. And what's that supposed to mean? I do the same for him. This was very reminiscent of what Steve had accused him of never doing, and the captain scoffed. That's a surprise. Tony shut up so fast his chair skidded backwards. You know what, Rogers? You've been getting on my nerves since day one. Now, I don't care what you say about me personally. I can take anything you dish out, but when you bring Harry into this, that's when you've crossed the line. So if your face doesn't want to say hello to my fist, keep your mouth shut. Tony's expression blazed with an alarming amount of hostility as he swung around to face all of them. This is obviously not going to work. He gestured at the room in general before looking at Fury. So I'll just save you the trouble of printing out a dismissal form. I quit. And with that said, he spun around and stalked out the door as well, steps loud against the metallic floor. Well, I guess I'm done here too. Bruce rose to his feet, hands clasped together. You don't need me anymore? Can't trace the cube without the staff? I'll see myself out. As opposed to Tony, his steps were near silent as he exited the room, never looking back as he disappeared from view. Thor heaved a disgusted sigh and got up as well. You humans, sometimes I find it truly a mystery that you have even advanced this far. Picking up his hammer, the demigod left as well. No one noticed the uneasy frown on his face as Thor realized how heavy Mjolnir had gotten. Natasha pressed her lips together before rising from her seat. Sir, I'd like to return to Barton now. He hasn't woken up yet, and the doctors said they'd give me an update when I got back. Fury nodded once and watched as one of his best agents disappeared from the room at a near run. Sighing deeply, he turned to the last member of the Avengers. Well, Rogers, what about you? Steve stared from the door to the director. How did you find out about Potter anyway? He asked at last. I mean, he was hiding fine before, right? Coulson cleared his throat. He saved my life. Loki would have killed me otherwise. I thought his only priority was Stark, Steve pointed out. Apparently not. Fury shrugged. Though I doubt many people would stay to one side while someone was killed, if they could prevent it. Another long silence descended before Fury prompted impatiently. Rogers? I want to talk to Harry, Steve suddenly said, getting up abruptly. Are you quitting? Fury pressed. I'll let you know as soon as I do, Steve promised before speeding out of the room in the same direction Harry was headed in. Sir? Fury turned to glance at Hill. What are we going to do now? Fury sighed. Again. Nothing to do but wait. Wait for what? Hill asked as she and Coulson followed Fury out of the room. Fury frowned. For the time when the Avengers proved to be strong enough to work together. Now that the helicarrier was no longer doing anything but save hanging in the air, Harry could enjoy the scenery without people running back and forth on the deck. Mind if I join you? Harry stiffened at the voice, turning to see Steve Rogers hovering a few feet away. After a contemplative moment, he shifted over to make room for the man. So, you're a mechanic, Steve said as he sat down. Saw a lot more of those back in my day than I do now. Harry shrugged. It's a profession. I like working with cars. They fell into a slightly awkward silence. Harry pretended not to see the quick glances Steve kept shooting at him every few minutes. What do you see in Stark? Steve finally spoke, frustration evident in his voice. Harry shot him a long, considering look. What do you see in Tony? He countered. Steve frowned. He's arrogant and reckless, and he has no tact. He's selfish, too, and everything's a joke to him. You really think that? Harry asked, keeping his voice neutral. You fought with him just a while ago. You worked together to get the turbine up and running, didn't you? Steve hesitated, and Harry waited patiently as he thought that over. He could have died, Steve offered at last. He had to push the rotors to get them working again, and he trusted me to pull the lever. He trailed off, deep in thought, and Harry nodded. All those things you say he is, I completely agree. I'll be the first to say he's nothing short of an egotistical bastard. But that's not all he is, either. He doesn't have to be here. He doesn't have to be Iron Man. I mean, he has plenty of money and fame. He doesn't really need the added danger of being a superhero to get recognition. And at the end of the day, all the things he's done for S.H.I.E.L.D. so far, no one's going to know any of that, except us. He's here because he wants to help, no matter what he tells people, and that takes selfless courage. His gaze sharpened into a glare. So if I ever hear you say anything to Tony, even remotely, like what you said to him back in the lab, you'll see exactly why no British aura in their right mind would cross their magic with mine. Understand? Steve looked understandably shocked, but he managed a weak nod, and Harry promptly dropped the fierce look. Good. Now, was that all you came out here for? No. Steve shifted a bit on the spot. The team's kind of disbanded. Sure come. Harry deadpanned. Steve scowled. That was entirely stark. Yes, it was, Harry agreed shamelessly. What about the insurance from an elf? Steve shrugged. She can't exactly quit. She's S.H.I.E.L.D., but I think she doesn't want anything to do with the Avengers anymore either. Well, it is a group of superheroes in this day and age. Harry shook his head. You Americans. I almost laughed when I found out. There's nothing wrong with superheroes, Steve protested indignantly. Harry tilted his head. It's a big job. But it's worth it, Steve insisted stubbornly. No matter how hard being a superhero is, it's worth it in the end. I'm not saying it isn't, Captain. Harry rose to his feet, stretching out his limbs before turning to face Steve. But then you've got to wonder, why aren't your colleagues jumping at the chance to be one? Slipping off the railing of the flag bridge, Harry turned and headed back inside, leaving a pensive Steve behind. Potter! Harry glanced back and blinked when he caught sight of Natasha sprinting towards him, a desperate glint in her eyes. Agent Romanoff, you wizards can heal with magic, can't you? She gasped as she skidded to a halt in front of him. Well, yes, Harry started, but I'm not qualified. Come on! Unceremoniously, Natasha grabbed Harry by the arm and ran off again, this time dragging Harry behind her. Mum, what's going on? Harry demanded, half trying to wrench his arm out of her grip. I don't know many healing spells. They're not part of my skill set. There must be something you could do. She shot back determinedly. What's going on? Harry tried again. Natasha didn't even pause as she tossed an almost frightened look over her shoulder at him, only years of training and missions hiding her emotions from sight. It's Martin. He's dying.